It started on a rainy Tuesday morning. I had packed my small brown suitcase the night before, folded my modest collection of clothes with care, and triple-checked my passport and boarding pass. My son, Travis, had offered, no, insisted, to take me to the airport for my trip. It was supposed to be a peaceful vacation to visit my childhood friend in Maine. A break. A moment for myself after a lifetime of putting everyone else first. Travis was all smiles when he pulled up. "Ready to fly, Ma?" he asked, giving me a quick hug before tossing my suitcase into the back of his SUV. I didn't notice it then, but something in his voice felt rehearsed. Cold. We talked briefly during the drive, mostly me asking how work was going. He gave vague answers. He didn't ask about my plans, didn't seem interested. I chalked it up to stress. I wanted to believe that. When we arrived at the departures terminal, he didn't even get out to help me with my suitcase. "All right, here we are," he said. "Gotta run, conference call." He leaned over, kissed my cheek, and added with a grin, "Safe flight, Mom." It wasn't until I reached the check-in counter that I realized my wallet was gone. Gone. I searched every corner of my purse. Panic set in. I asked the airline agent if I could check in without ID. Of course I couldn't. No ID, no flight. I stood there, dazed, and tried to call Travis. No answer. I texted him, "Travis, my wallet is missing. Please come back." No reply. The next few hours were humiliating. I sat on a bench with my suitcase, a woman in her late 60s, too proud to ask strangers for help, too scared to leave the airport with no ID, no money, and no idea what to do. Eventually, I made it to the airport police. They kindly helped me confirm what I had already feared. My wallet was last used at a gas station just 10 minutes before Travis had dropped me off. Charges included energy drinks, chips, and a full tank of gas. But then, the most damning detail came, a withdrawal from my savings account. $3,000. I stared at the officer as he said the words out loud. I had trusted my son with access to my emergency account when his wife was sick last year. He never removed himself. And now, he had drained it, then left me here like a stray cat on the curb. Something snapped in me that moment. Not just grief, not just betrayal. Something colder, stronger. I didn't cry, I didn't scream. I smiled. Because Travis didn't know that the money he stole? It wasn't just savings. It was bait. And I had been waiting for years to see what he'd do if he thought I was weak. And now I had the answer I needed. And I had all the tools I needed to respond. I took a cab back home using a $50 emergency bill I had hidden in my shoe, a trick I learned back when I was raising Travis alone after his father left. My hands trembled the whole ride, but not from fear, from focus. A plan was forming, slowly and clearly, like steam rising off a kettle. Travis had always believed I was naive, a soft-hearted woman with no spine, who wore pastel sweaters and baked pies, who couldn't possibly understand the real world of business, money, or betrayal. But what he didn't know, what no one in the family knew, was that for the past 20 years, I'd quietly built a small real estate portfolio from the modest inheritance my late sister left me. 3 townhouses, 2 apartment buildings, a dozen rental units, all under my maiden name. I kept everything separate because long ago I had learned, when you are a woman, a mother, people assume your assets are theirs. That assumption was about to cost Travis everything. I spent the next 2 days reviewing paperwork. I called lawyers. I dug through dusty safes and opened folders I hadn't touched in years. I sat in my tiny kitchen sipping cold tea while printing documents, rent agreements, ownership deeds, utility transfers, everything. Why? Because Travis lived in one of my buildings. Not rented from me directly, of course. He believed it belonged to a retired investor he only met through a broker. But that investor, that was me. I had bought the building before he married Leah, his high-maintenance wife, and let him lease Unit 304 under the market rate just to help him get started. I had done it quietly because I didn't want to embarrass him. But now, embarrassment would be a mercy. By Friday, I had prepared the formal eviction notice, tucked it into a cream envelope, and handed it to the property manager with very specific instructions. Deliver this on Sunday morning. I didn't want Travis to see it coming. I wanted him to feel the rug pulled out from beneath him, like I did at that airport terminal. Then came the final piece. I knew he wouldn't take the eviction seriously unless it came with something bigger. So I called Leah, his wife. I hadn't spoken to her in nearly a year. She answered warily. Mrs. Halpern? Hi, Leah, I said sweetly. I just wanted to ask, did Travis tell you where the money for that new kitchen reno came from? There was a pause. Her voice stiffened. He said it was a bonus. Why? I didn't say much, just asked her to check the bank statements. Then I emailed her a few screenshots of the withdrawals, and I attached the video. Yes, because the gas station security camera? It caught Travis laughing as he held up my wallet. He looked like a teenager again, smirking, carefree. Leah was quiet. I said gently, I'm sorry, dear, but I thought you deserved to know the kind of man you're planning to have a child with. Her breath hitched, then she hung up. I didn't need to do more, because what came next was a chain reaction I couldn't have orchestrated better if I'd tried. On Sunday, Travis called me. 6 missed calls, then 12. Then messages started pouring in. Mom, what the hell is this? Why are we being evicted? Is this your revenge or something? I didn't answer. I waited. Until Monday, when I got a knock at the door. It was Travis, disheveled, eyes red. He didn't look angry. He looked scared. Mom, he said, voice cracking. Leah left. She took everything. Said I stole from you. I didn't mean to. I held up a hand. You left me alone at an airport with no ID, no money, and no way to get home. And now you're surprised the world turned on you? He opened his mouth. I shut the door. But not before saying one last thing. Your lease ends in 5 days. Good luck, Travis. Travis didn't leave right away. Of course not. Like most people who never feared consequences, he thought apologies could buy time. He came by again that night, left flowers on my porch. Then texts started coming in from his friends, asking me to please be kind because he made a mistake, but he's your son. Funny, not one of those friends thought to check on me when he left me stranded at an airport with no wallet and no coat. And Leah? She didn't just walk out of their apartment, she walked out of the marriage. Turns out she'd already been on edge, tired of Travis's lies, the way he made her feel like she was always second to his ego. My little nudge, my screenshots and the video, well, they just confirmed what she already suspected. She moved in with her sister that week, filed for divorce within a month, and because they were legally married and jointly listed on the bank accounts, she cleaned out what remained of the kitchen remodel fund. Every penny. Travis had nowhere to go, no wife, no savings, and in 5 days, no home. He tried to call my bluff. I'll just talk to the landlord directly, he texted. You already have, I replied. Silence. The day of the eviction, I watched from across the street, not because I wanted to gloat, but because I wanted to remember, to never forget that even the children we raise with love can choose cruelty, that kindness without boundaries becomes fuel for entitlement. He stood on the sidewalk with 3 duffel bags, looking smaller than I'd ever seen him. He wasn't yelling, just pacing, confused, alone. That night, I poured myself a glass of wine, opened my laptop, and I wrote something I had put off for too long, a will. I left the properties to charities, all of them, one building to a women's shelter, another to a program that housed runaway teens, the townhouses to a group that helped older women transition out of domestic abuse situations. I made sure the documents were airtight, irrevocable. I kept my personal savings for me, my quiet life, my books and my morning walks and my little herb garden. I didn't want revenge anymore. I wanted peace. But Travis wasn't done. A month later, he showed up again. This time, not to apologize. He was angry, desperate. You're my mother. You're supposed to love me. I looked him in the eye. Loving you doesn't mean letting you destroy me. He sneered. So what? You're cutting me off? No, I said. You did that the moment you left me cold and alone without even a phone." He laughed bitterly. "You think this makes you a hero?" "No," I said softly. "It just makes me free." He turned to leave, but stopped at the door. "So this is it? After everything I did for you?" I smiled. Not cruelly, just sadly. "You spent your life acting like I owed you something, but here's the truth, Travis. You owed me decency. You owed me the bare minimum of respect. And you failed." He walked away. That was the last time I saw him. Months passed. I saw Leah once at the store. She was glowing, pregnant. She smiled at me and I nodded. We didn't need to speak. She had found her way out. One evening, I sat on my porch watching the sunset when a letter came in the mail. No return address. Inside was a photo. It was Travis, at a diner somewhere, working behind the counter, looking tired but normal. Human. On the back, just 4 words. "I finally understand, Mom." I held the photo in my hands for a long time. And for the first time in months, I cried. Not because I was broken, but because sometimes the deepest love is the one that walks away, not to hurt, but to survive. And sometimes that's what saves them too.